Hello students, welcome back to class. In our previous class, we looked at the topic democracy. In this lesson, we're going to be looking at the topic rule of law. Rule of law can be defined as the principle of equality before the law, supremacy of the law, and respect for human rights. Under the principle of the rule of law, all people and institutions are subject to and accountable to law that is fairly applied and enforced. There are three principles of the rule of law. They are absence of arbitrary use of power, subjection of everyone to the ordinary law, the general principles of the Constitution, and respect for human rights. Absence of arbitrary power or arbitrary use of power simply means the situation whereby those in authority begin to use their discretion to pass out sentence on individuals who for one reason or the other are found guilty of an offense. But in rule of law, it is forbidden. It is expected that the Constitution should be what determine the state of that individual. Then everyone should be subjected to the ordinary law. The law of the land should be what govern everybody, and everyone should be, the law should be a standard for which everyone is respected or allowed to do whatsoever they intend to do. Then the principle of the Constitution and respect for human rights also says that the Constitution is what you follow. Whatsoever is done in that community or in that society is determined by what the Constitution says, and every human right of every citizen are to be respected. We now look at the importance of the rule of law. One is adherence to the principle of the rule of law promotes effective political participation of the citizens. When everybody adhere to the principle of the rule of law and every citizen come to understand that the law is what determines what is done and what should not be, then it has a way to boost the interest of everybody to be interested in political activities. But when they discover that it appears there are some special people in the society and the law really does not have a say or hold on them, that will also affect their interest politically. The rule of law support the principle of check and balances. The three arms of government, the executive, the legislature, the judiciary, the rule of law empower them to operate individually and also to act as check and balances on the activities of each of those arms of government. Respect for human rights is a feature of the rule of law, and this is regarded as a standard way of measuring the level of political development. So we also have respect for human rights, as we have earlier said, that every right of every individual in that community must be respected and accord the respect that each individual deserve. For one of the roles of a state is the provision of social justice, and this is one of the requirements of the rule of law. There is also provision of social justice. Everybody in the society are given what they deserve, and whoever is found guilty for doing what is not supposed is also kind of shown the way to face the disciplinary body that are to discipline those that are found guilty in that regard, and whatsoever is to follow will also follow. Then the rule of law promotes orderliness and security of lives and property. So it also promotes orderliness in the society and security of lives and property. The rule of law makes possible open and transparent government. So the rule of law also makes government to be transparent and more responsible to the citizens. We now look at the process of the rule of law. The processes involved in the running of a state that respect the principle of the rule of law include the following. 1. Promotion of political awareness. In this area, the political awareness of the people is promoted and enhanced. Then the other one is the constitution must be written and made rigid. The constitution must be written and made rigid. Rigid in the sense that it will not be easy to be amended. And then it must also be in a document, a single document for proper interpretation. Then the judiciary system must be made completely independent of executive control or intimidation. So the judiciary must be free from any control of the executive, so they can operate, the way that it is expected of them. 5 is that the government, its agencies, and members of the public are made to respect the law of the land. Government and those who work with them also must obey the law of the land. Then the principle of check and balances is respected, and the role of the different arms of government are clearly stated in the Constitution. Then the mass media is this in the states. The mass media is the states in the state are allowed to freely carry out their roles of surveillance of the environment and education of the public. So the mass media are also given the freedom, the privilege to express themselves and to educate the populace on what is expected of them, and they will not be under any control or victimization to deprive them of doing so. Then we'll now look at the problems of the rule of law. One of the problems is the use of technicalities in law courts. One of the problems of the rule of law is the use of technicality. So most of the time when you go to court, the issue of technicality often a time come up that will make the law not to be fully expressed. A lot of people majorly do not even understand the law in latter, and as such they might not even know what the law says concerning some certain things, and the technicalities makes it more difficult for some individual to fully understand and comprehend what the law says. Now look at the effect of poverty. Another thing is the effect of poverty on the people. A lot of people are so poor to the extent that they cannot really express themselves. If they are victimized in the society, they also will not be able to stand up for themselves, because to them they might not be able to get a lawyer to begin to go to court to prosecute such a case, so they just give it up. So poverty is another major problem of the rule of law. The other one is tribalism and nepotism. So tribalism and nepotism is another major problem of the rule of law, and that is why the rule of law is not so effective in countries where the tribal activities and nepotism is very high. Now look at loopholes in the Constitution. Another thing is the Constitution. When there are a lot of loopholes in the Constitution, then the rule of law will also have issues. The rule of law will not be fully expressed like it is in Nigeria. There are a lot of loopholes in our Constitution, and that has hindered the function of the rule of law. Another thing is state of emergency. Whenever there is a state of emergency, the law is set aside, so nobody is talking about law as at that time. So the rule of law is also greatly affected, because as at that time you will not be there to express your rights and all of that. Then the use of special or administrative court. The use of special or administrative court is also another major problem of the rule of law. As the rule of law has rightly said that there should be no secret court to try anybody. There should be one court which will be used to try everybody, one simple court. So there should be no special court somewhere, for special cases. No, there should be just one court where everything or every cases will be tried, and whoever is found guilty on that ground according to the law of the land face the law. The other one we look at here is weakness or weaknesses of law enforcement agents. The law enforcement agents are also very weak in the area of corruption, taking bribe, and all of that. So because of this, the rule of law has not fully gained its expression, because having taken money from some persons who may even be found guilty, or who are even guilty of a crime, they either let them go or begin to support them, begin to give them a way out of the case. This is another major problem of the rule of law. This is all we are going to take in this lesson. In our next lesson, we'll look at other topic. I'll see you in my next class.